Welcome to Friday Focus, April 29th, 2016. I'm going to talk about something that a lot of us get kind of confused on, how we should handle different parts of our personality, different parts of our life. We've all got things, and we might not want to identify them or acknowledge them, but we all have strengths, and we all have weaknesses. And sometimes even when let's say you're interviewing, somebody might say, what's your greatest strengths? You can identify them, maybe embellish them a little bit. And then when they ask you what are your weaknesses, you might want to hide them, saying that, well, I don't have any weaknesses. And obviously we have weaknesses. And it's sometimes beneficial to come to terms with your weaknesses so you can figure out what to do with them. When we go to school, we perform our jobs, we spend a lot of time trying to get these weaknesses better because we identify stuff that we're good at and we're happy with that and let it go. And then we have our weaknesses that we spend maybe a lot of time trying to correct the weaknesses because in our heads we shouldn't have any weaknesses, right? And no weaknesses makes you a great person. And that seems logical. Our kids are in school and maybe they're struggling in math and doing real good in history. And we spend all this time trying to help them do math, but they might not even have a career in math and maybe that's just never going to be their strength. So the question is, where should we put in all our effort in to improving our strengths or improving our weaknesses? Certainly if you're in a job where it requires you to do something you're very weak at, you're going to perform poorly. So should you change to a different type of job, different role in your job, or should you try to make your strengths, your weaknesses stronger? Well, the reality is, that if you spend a lot of time working on your weaknesses, it actually makes you weaker on your strengths. So let's say this is a scale of 1 to 5 or 10, and here's your strength, and here's your weakness. And let's say you spend considerable energy reading, studying, practicing, mentoring, coaching to get your weaknesses to improve. Well, in doing that, you actually take your strengths and push them down. And then what happens? You're doing what we call mediocre. You've kind of forced yourself into maybe to a job or a role in your family, role in your life that you're not that good at by pushing your weaknesses up and not really ever being super good at them and pushing your strengths down because you're wasting time working on something you'll never improve. I had a discussion with Shauna the other day, and she's always been really good at sales. And now we have surgery split up between the two offices, so she's not getting as much sales here. We're sending a lot of consults over to Livonia, about half of them. And she wanted to grow. And, what can she do to grow? A lot of times when you grow, you do some leadership thing. So we wrote down her strengths and weaknesses. And I'm not going to share all of them with you, but she told me I could talk about this. But she thought her strengths were she was very optimistic. And she's good at sales. She can think on her feet, and some other things. I asked her weaknesses, and she's kind of paused. I said, Shauna, you suck at training. And she's like, yeah, I kind of do. We've had her try to train people, and she just can't train. So for Shauna, her strengths were optimism, encouragement, sales, thinking on her feet, and her weaknesses in training. Yet she wants to give what she has to other people. Okay, so she's thinking, I should be able to train. I got to work on the training, and I know I'm not that good at training, but I should get better because I'm really good at this stuff. So I want to be able to give it to other people. So we talked about it a little bit, and we decided, well, let's separate out, in her case, training, which she's weak at, and coaching. Let's say you send your kid to a basketball camp. They're going to teach them how to aim for the hoop and how to properly line their feet up, maybe train them how to exercise and stuff properly. And that's training. But when it comes time to play the game, they kind of need a coach, looking at the situation, motivating the kids. So her strength, she thought, was her optimism, her ability to do sales, thinking on her feet, and she wanted to help other people with that. And in her mind, she's got to do something she's weak at, which is training. In reality, she can just coach people. She doesn't really have to do the scheduling institute training. She wouldn't be that good at it. She knows how to do it, and she inherently picks some things up, and maybe she can coach. And that's just Shauna's example. You can look at your own life and see where you have strengths and weaknesses in your family life. Maybe there's things that you split up duties with your spouse, your significant other, your family. And are you really, even when you're dealing with your kids, are you really kind of focusing on growing your strengths or having them try to improve the weaknesses? By nature, as humans, we tend to try to fix the weaknesses. Okay, because we figure, well, we shouldn't be weak in anything, and my kid's struggling in this grade or in this thing, but they're really good at this. Well, let's leave that thing that he's good at alone so we can fix the strengths. But I suggest to you, you start thinking about fixing your strengths, making them better, because you're already strong at it. And if you put your energy into taking your strengths, which are up here, and your weakness here, let the weaknesses suffer a little bit and make your strength soar. We talked about before in our Friday focus about being, there's some things we're bad at in our office, which is like being cheap and stuff like that, offering everything for everybody, and things that we're good at, which is like outstanding customer experience, respecting people's time, giving them great results and value. And if we could focus on improving the things we're really good at and like not worrying about the things we're bad at. This is about yourself personally. What are your strengths? You can identify them. What are your weaknesses? Sometimes it's very hard to be honest with yourself and admit that you're weak with things because you think you should improve them. I find that I'm very weak at looking at details. And it's a weakness. I don't think about details, and I don't really want to be bothered with them. When I get my taxes, we have multiple corporations in our family. It's like this thick. I don't even read it. I just sign it electronically. I never looked at them. I should, and I tell myself I should be looking at that and studying because I'm the best one to know, and I could be looking at it and spending time and finding some little loopholes I can fix or finding some errors. I'm better off paying an accountant to do it and doing something I'm strong at. Okay, for me, I'm strong at like learning and reading and studying. Analyzing, projecting, maybe even communicating. But my weakness is details. So I have people helping me. Detail people help me. It's my office. Donna's been here with me for a long time, taking care of the detail work. Maria does a lot of the detail things that I really do not have a strength on. And I suggest to you look at your own job and you look at your team members, people that you work with, and figure out who's best at what in their strengths and let them grow a little bit more and find out what you or your team members are weak at, and maybe not spend too much energy trying to fix that. Yes, there's certain things you have to be able to do. You have to be able to check people out properly. You have to be able to reschedule properly. You have to be able to do your tasks properly. But if you're in a job where you have a team, and there are weaknesses that somebody else is good at, that's when you work as a team. And you take some of their duties and responsibilities that you're strong at and do them better. When you're trying to grow yourself professionally, focus in on what you're strong at, and acknowledge the things that you're weak at. Doesn't make an excuse for not doing something, but look at things that you're weak at and figure out how you can maybe not focus on that so much. So that's today's Friday focus, to grow yourself, grow your strengths. Thank you.